Hey, gang. Thursday, that weekend's coming. And after today, we're going to need it. Clowns to the left, hypocrisy to the right. Here you are, stuck in the middle with me. It's 11:02 right here in Tampa and 8:02 out there on the left coast, 4:02 in London, 17:02 in Berlin and Gaza, 18:02 in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Kyiv, and Moscow, 11:03 p.m. in Perth, 3 minutes after midnight in Tokyo. We've got some new and dedicated followers, and a shout out to them in Japan. So we've added them to the list of times. 2:03 a.m. Melbourne, Canberra, and Sydney. This is up the middle. I'm Yergs, a voice that sounds like yours. Let's see what I want to put up there. There we go. Put the coin up there. A voice that sounds like yours. This is politics for the rest of us. Because clearly there's some people who no longer want to belong. Before I put this up, there we go. I can put this. I found one that I can share. There it is. There he is. Seth Rose, gay porn star from about 10 years ago. Although, when you see the face in what you're about to compare it to, and of course, a link to this will be in our show notes. For those of you listening on the radio, keep listening because we're going to hear. Oop, I just did something stupid. Oh, there was something really stupid. Keep listening because we're going to hear. So I'm trying to make that photo that innocent photo that I was trying to share a little bigger. And because I hit some other buttons, it might be making something else bigger on some of you. And that's all I can do there. All right, let's try this again. Now I got to lower that screen. I increased the size of the screen so that you would be able to see this photo. You can insert all of your penis jokes that you want. That's not where I was going with it. But I wanted you to be able to see this guy because he is a huge hypocrite. For those of you who are on the conservative side of the spectrum, you know him as Corey DeAngelis. Bible thumping, parent right teaching, Christian evangelical. That was a combination of evangelist and evangelical. Christian Bible thumper. And keep in mind, remember, I am a Christian. I, in more recent years, instead consider myself more of a deist in that I do certainly believe in a higher power. I even refer to that entity as God. I do also believe in Christ. I just don't believe in religion. My church is outside my front door. I live in an amazing neighborhood, right on the water in the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, I pronounced that intentionally for those of you who can't think for yourselves or don't know the history of the continent that you live on. But this guy, nice abs, and that is actually my favorite look, by the way, where there's the chest hair and the body hair on the front, not all over the place, but there that it's trimmed, because you know that's trimmed. He's hairier now, if in fact he's stopped trimming in his conservative, I don't do that anymore life. But apparently, and you say, well, he's taking a selfie in a hotel room, clearly, because there you see the water bottles on the counter, and there's some other product that's on a tray, like moisturizers and such, that a hotel would give you. That's a hotel. Also, there's the um, stainless door handle that you probably aren't going to have in your bathroom. Um, and there's also multiple products on the counter: 2 toothbrushes, multiple razors, male razors. So probably not his wife, to whom he now believes, which tells us he is married to. So he is in a hotel, stashed up somewhere with a movie studio. And trust me, I've done my homework. I think you know that. As such, I can confirm to you this guy has done gay porn. That's what you pay me for. And he has, in fact. And, I'm not denying at all that there may be a photo or 1,000 of this very same format of me. Yes, there are. I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm not turning around and telling you that I'm ashamed of it. When God knows who else I may be texting or calling or emailing, or will be mindful of the radio regulations, or who I may be with at one point or another. Now, I can relate to some of his current frustrations. I guess on some level, embarrassment. Earlier in my Secret Service career, when I had just transferred to the Hillary Clinton detail, she was making a trip back to Pennsylvania. And this was back when it was a little bit more common now. I don't hear as many people doing it as much. Let me know in comments or give me a call. 1-888-88-YERGS, 844-GAY-LGBT, or on Google Voice at 813-358-3836. Let me know if there's anything that something has been presented to you that you were kind of embarrassed by then. And in retrospect, you're like, no, it's not a big deal. Also, let me know if you still Google people. If somebody that you're about to meet with, you do some sort of impromptu background check of sorts. Hillary was making a trip to Pennsylvania for the first time during my tenure on her detail. And that Pennsylvania area was Philadelphia, which was my first field office. And when news came out that she was coming, some agent said, well, let's see if we know anybody. Let's Google the shift agents. And there I was, good old Yergs, a recent departee of the Philadelphia field office, on that list of incoming shift agents. And what did they find? Me at a barbecue in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. If you're not familiar with Rehoboth, or Rehomo, as we call it, it is kind of a, not the, there's kind of multiple, especially now, but it is the San Francisco of sorts on the East Coast. Translation: pretty high gay population. And so there I am at a barbecue with a bunch of other good-looking guys just like that, the short haircut, very toned bodies. I don't think his face is all that good-looking. He looks like Guy Smiley. Long head, big jaw, and not a big jaw as in like lean body mass, although he's clearly got that. In case you're not looking, I'll tell you. He's clearly got that. But just, After the body, the face doesn't, I'd have to put a pillow over his face or turn him around or something. I don't know. Anyway, they did not know that I was gay. I was really not putting it on billboards, not ashamed of it. But for friends to find out that way was probably not ideal. Fast forward to the visit, and at this point, clearly, I'm the only one. They stopped Googling after that because they kind of already found a jackpot. I mean, what else could you find with the other shift agents? So I get the video that you're about to see, and it's not one of his videos of the past. It's him being the hypocrite. Clowns to the left, hypocrisy to the right. Well, we'll talk about some clowns later from the woke side. And there's nothing wrong with being woke. It's actually a good thing. But if you don't agree with Donald Trump, you're woke. If you don't agree with Ron DeSantis, you're woke. That's not what woke is. Anyway, hypocrisy to the right, you're going to hear his hypocrisy, where he literally admits that nobody forced him into the adult entertainment industry. Right before he turns around and blames everybody else but himself. Now, does that sound familiar? Have we heard that before? Do we know of anybody on the right, if you really want to call it the right, I just want to call it the fascist side of life, who refuses to take responsibility for any shortcoming or mistake, or blames a loss on somebody cheating? Meanwhile, what's he doing? Yeah, we know who that is. So here is Seth. Seth Rose is the porn name. And the reason why adult entertainers come up with what we call a porn name, I know there's all the ways to do it, like the street that you lived on and your middle name and whatever combinations of such that people pretend to use when they create their imaginary porn name. Seth Rose is the name he came up to somehow. I suspect he's probably trying to pretend to be a brother of another. They're called models because they're photographed. They're not called actors because they don't really act. Of the same last name. And I see somewhat of a resemblance. It's a stretch, but it's there. And so maybe he tried to say I'm so-and-so's brother, which in fact is not true. You'll find out that they're from very different parts of the country. Well, I mean, different parts of the country. So here he is. And as best as I can tell, he doesn't look too much different from that now. He's not shirtless in his TV interview on the Christian Bible Network, no less. Because, of course, he's already saved or whatever. And I'm not making fun of Christians. I'm not making fun of religion. I'm making fun of people who use that as an out. Because I think you're going to find when he tries to, I'll say, pretend to take responsibility for his inappropriate actions. And again, I don't think the adult entertainment is inappropriate. When I lived in major cities, I met some adult entertainers as some of the best people I've ever met. And most down to earth. But in his mind, and in the mind of the Bible-thumping religious right, in that moment, he was a grave sinner and whatever else you're going to hear him say. So we'll get to that interview. I gotta find some notes that I were on my desktop. I don't know where they got to, but so I gotta just kind of go through some. I told you guys this before. I text myself. Ken is busting on my stuff here. He saw. Good morning. Good morning, gang. Ken saying and Yergs. Good morning. Homework done. Um, the Yergs photo hunt begins. Yeah, I don't know that you're going to find. There's one I know got out somehow because the Secret Service tried to use it against me. In an interview they did on me when they tried to screw me right before I retired, and I shoved it up their ass without lube. Ken says, yes, he does background check people. And do I trust? I will ask. I already know the answer to. That's a criminal investigator thing, and we do it. I do it all the time. To people I don't know. I mean, once I've developed trust with you, I'm not going to test you in that manner. I've let my career as a member of our nation's intelligence community go. I have not let my responsibilities as a parent go, although Zach is an amazing young man. Yeah, that's Ken says butterface, and yeah, it when you see the haircut, it's even shorter and tighter. It just pushes that face. I didn't even recognize him when I was looking for a video of him doing some sort of interview. I said, okay, well, who's this? Must be the interviewer. Where's he at? And I start watching, like, oh my God, that's him. Ken says he's friends with adult entertainers. They're the most human and down-to-earth people. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's some that are a-holes, but there's people in every profession that are a-holes. But a lot of them, and the ones that I really have a level of respect for and gratitude of sorts, are the ones that are also escorts. The ones that are history's oldest profession. Why do I say that? Well, think about what they do. They go have sex with they go have sex with other people for money. Yet there's more to it than that. The fact that they make those people feel good about themselves in a way I could never do. You got to respect that. Maybe you don't like the method by which they do it. Okay. But I think you still got to take a moment and say, they're making somebody feel good about themselves in a way that I could never do, or don't want to do, or can't do because of my other job, whatever. There were, I think it's in some email too. I also want to do it. I do this thing with hate mail of sorts where it's not necessarily hate mail. I just show you some things I found in social media that I might be starting a fight with, or there might be already one started, so on and so forth. So let's give Seth a reprieve and fast forward to modern day. And this is Billy. He is a content creator of sorts, just like me, for the Christian Bible Network. And he is helping Corey DeAngelis, a.k.a. Seth Rose, with his My Culpa.
Intense couple of weeks here. You've been in the headlines over the past week in particular, and not necessarily for the education work that you do. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what has it been like to deal with the intensity of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough at first, but since I've been able to go public, it has been a huge turnaround. The public support from people on our side has been overwhelming, and it's been a great turnaround. But look, I put a public statement out there on X.
Okay. I doubt it. Whatever, because he says he's got this public support. And then he turns around and talks. You're going to hear it in a second. He's going to turn around and talk about how the gay community is all part of the problem. And we want videos like the ones he's done in classrooms K through 12. Yeah, he actually said that. Keep in mind, his PhD is in education. And you see the long, narrow face and the tighter hair on the side. And clearly we're thinning out there a little bit. I didn't recognize him. And his earbuds sticking out don't help. Anyway.
Formerly known as Twitter, just acknowledging what happened.
Just pick one. Just pick one. Is it X or Twitter? I've gone with Twitter because hopefully he will run it so far into the ground that he's going to have to sell it. And it's going to go back to normal and being a worthy platform to be on. My current hope is that Elon Musk buys TikTok. And as such, continues to drive that into the ground too.
Happen. Look, there are images and videos circulating of me from my college days about a decade ago that I'm not proud of. They're embarrassing. I'm nude in those videos and pictures. And
I got to be honest, I'd be proud of it. I mean, maybe go into the superhero genre of adult films and wear a mask because your face ain't the best. But from the neck down, it's not that bad. 10 years ago, let's see, I was in my early 40s. I think you and I could have been a thing, at least for a night.
And, there's been a cancellation attempt from the.
Okay, now this is, I forgot about this. Oh. So I'm watching part of this last night, walking the dogs. And I'm in one of my favorite local parks, walking Matrix and Shady. And I just bust up laughing out loud, like cracked up when he mentioned that. And everybody, of course, stopped with it. Like records skipped and cars' brakes screeched, and everybody stopped and looked at me. And I'm like, yeah, if you could only see what I'm seeing. Look what's in the background. There's a picture of somebody on steps. It looks like a wedding photo. On top of a book entitled Woke Incorporated. Honey, I'm speaking to the man out there who I've probably not even met yet. Hopefully he's watching. If you ever put our wedding photo on top of a book that has something to do with your work, you better have a good divorce lawyer. And if I ever do that, break the photo over my head. And there's another book over there over his left shoulder on the right side of the screen, Controligarchs. Do you see why I constantly bitch at these people about projection? You know he's not slamming Elon Musk in that book, right? I mean, yes, I'm making a presumption. I'm gonna bet maybe a couple of bedrooms, if not the entire house. Elon Musk is not critiqued in that book. Don't worry, it gets funnier.
the left in particular and my political opponents trying to accuse me of hypocrisy. It's
Yes.
it's their claims fall flat. There's a good article by Robbie Suave at Reason Magazine where he
I'm gonna Google that right now. Robbie Suave. I don't know how. What did he say? What magazine?
hypocrisy. Their claims fall flat. There's a good article by Robbie Suave at Reason Magazine.
Okay, Reason Magazine. Let's find that magazine. Online. We'll take out the online and let's try Corey first. Corey DeSantis. Go figure. Corey DeAngelis article. Okay. The firing. Oh, he was fired last year. Yeah, okay, we got to look into this. We might be talking about this tomorrow, too. Blake, Matt, if you're not watching, which I know they're not.
Where he knocks down those accusations. But
I got to read that.
Look, I was kind of lured into this at a young age. I was an adult. I did make those decisions. I'm not proud of those decisions, but I can see how.
Do you hear it? He was lured into this at a young age. He was an adult and he made those decisions. He was lured into this at a young age and he was adult that he made those decisions. Which one is it, dude? And Robbie is spelled R-O-B-Y. Excuse me, R-O-B-B-Y. More common spelling for Robbie. Suave is S-O-A-V-E. And I do believe I may have found the art. It's from October of last year when he was fired from a think tank, it appears.
It can be deceptive, and the entire industry can be deceptive, especially for young people.
It's deceptive. Okay. What do you think you're going to do for a living when you walk into a porn studio? What are they deceiving you about exactly, Ryan? And I don't think I finished this thought, actually. So the reason why they come up with aliases, stage names, if you will, is because so you can have a job like this later in life. Because this is here. It's there forever. Well, when that was more of a successful business model, was back when these were on DVD and VHS. Or DVD and VHS before that. Ironically, from what I'm told, they still offer both of those formats in stores of that nature. I wouldn't know. Right. But now with the internet, it really doesn't matter. So the guys that I really admire are, I got to find him now. His first name's Trevor. I'm brain farting on what his last name is. I talked to him. We've never met, but like in person. But I talk to him on Facebook a couple times a year. And Trevor Knight, that's his real name. And he did porn back in the day. I don't know what he does now, actually. There are some others. I forget who, of course, now that I want to know. I can't think of who it is. But there are others who have used their real name. because they're like, I'm not ashamed of what I do. Or maybe I do want to make a career out of this, not just in front of the camera. And I know plenty of people that are also cameramen. They have their own studios, things of that nature. And if that's what you do, that's what you do. But I think what his mistake here is, yeah, he got in on TV and he's doing the interviews and he's getting in front of it and so on and so forth. But when it's a constant deflection, I think, for lack of better terms, that's kind of unattractive. And it's just making matters worse.
I'm consistent. I don't want this kind of material to be in front of children.
It's not in front of children. It is now that their teacher got busted. But until then, and he's about to say about how these videos are already in classrooms. Yeah, they are. But the gay community ain't the ones putting it there. It's parents that don't know how to parent. The people that you're giving all these rights to, why don't you give them a little responsibility with it? Just a thought.
In the K-12 education system before they are consenting adults. If I was able to be lured in to make bad decisions as a young adult in college,
I can't even get a sip of my coffee. I've got to step in and correct this. I know, because again, I've got friends in this industry. When you turn 18 and you become legal, many studios still will not take you for this reason. Believe it or not, these people that lure you in with little horns protruding through their forehead and needlepoint shaped teeth that lure you in, even though you're an adult, they don't take you because of the fact that you're about to make a decision that has a absolute effect on your life, a permanent effect on your life, by definition of the word permanent, for the rest of your life. And so many won't take, all of them will sit a model down and say, here's this guy now. And they do a certain level of job counseling. And as a result, there's some aspiring models that never make it in front of a camera. I wish a lot of other professions did that. So this is where the far right, the knucklehead right, lies about this, what's so evil in the world. Yet I don't have them prepared for today. But this week alone, I found 3 other stories of prominent Republicans, just like this one, who have been arrested for kiddie porn. But the drag queens. And don't forget, today's hashtag of the day is hashtag fight hypocrisy. Put it out there. Back up a little bit, and it's probably going to take us the entire show to get through this. It's already 11:30. I haven't even taken a break yet. And we are all of 1 minute and 26 seconds into a 27-minute video. How far do you think we're going to get? I mean, how far do you think we're going to get before I just take the monitor and throw it through the wall? I'm going to get so pissed at this guy.
People, I'm consistent. I don't want this kind of material to be in front of children in the K-12 education system before they are consenting adults. If I was able to be lured in to make bad decisions as a young adult in college, just imagine how.
I still want to know, and this is another beef I have with maggots. He was lured into it. That statement would not hold water in court. Why? Well, because maybe he'd have to prove it. He'd have to step up and say, here's my argument. Superfan Ken is messaging me directly on Facebook Messenger and saying that I've got some comments that we got to get through here. So I'll just go right down. We talked about Butterface. Ken, you better not be all of the comments. Rose DeAngelis. Is that his drag name? Rose DeAngelis? Wait a minute. What am I? Ken can't say what he wants to say about him on the air. I'll say it. He's got a nice body. All of it. From the shoulders down. I wouldn't kick him out of bed, even if it's only for one night. I just, like I said, I put a pillow over his face or stuff his face into a pillow. Like, you know what I'm getting at. This guy is better than Twitter. Oh, wait. Yeah. So Ken's saying Blue Sky is better than Twitter /X. Oh, wait. It was born Twitter and identifies as X. That's good. He was lured into this. Wait, you can't be the villain. Yeah, that's what I said. You can't be a villain and a victim. No one placed a weapon to your head allegedly. And I'm sure you got paid and you didn't refuse the money, gay for pay or whatever. Yeah. And I like the Rose DeAngelis thing. That's funny. All right, let's get 10 minutes into this at least. You might let me take a break. When we come back, there'll be more of this, and I think I've got some more. Well, I can't use the one that we put up there already by accident. If you just search, which one is this? This is what did I say his name was? Rose. Seth Rose or whatever the hell it is. I'll come back. When we come back, we'll talk about that. All right. This is Up the Middle, and you're listening on the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back right after this. As soon as I find a video clip. There it is. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness. All right, so I just got to see one other thing here. Give me a second. I just want to make sure that we're on all of our affiliates. Radio X always takes a lot to... Oh, there it is. All right. Radio X in Perth, Australia, covering all of Australia. WZQR, Pineland, Florida. I'm missing... Oh, I know it's got to be on there. DNR Studios. Go to dnrstudios.com. I don't have my music up. Go to dnrstudios.com. Where are my comments? There we go. dnrstudios.com. Check out Derek and Romaine and everybody on DNR Studios. We're there now. The only political show. Moving with like the rest of today's show, speaking of which. Tell me where the left is hypocritical, just like this. And if it means you've got to, self-evaluate, And that's not a bad thing. But it just seems like I see this so much out of the religious right. And this guy is literally the face of it. Go to DNR Studio, not Derek, but Seth / Corey / Rose. Literally the face of it. Go to dnrstudios.com. Check out Derek and Romaine. They're on a cruise right now, but they'll be back in like 10 days from now or a week from now, something like a week from now, I think it is. Like the middle of next week. They'll be going a week this weekend, but then they got a couple extra days. It's like a 10-day trip. I think they crossed the Atlantic. I don't know how that being on the ship the entire time. I thought island hopping was kind of the thing to do, but they're crossing the Atlantic to Spain, I think it is. We'll find out when they get back. We're actually going to be on their show. I'm going to put that on here now, though, before I forget it. DNR Studios at dnrstudios.com and DNR Cast app. All right. So we'll save that, get that on there. Yeah. Let's go back to Corey here, at least for a minute. Get rid of some other stuff there. There we go. Okay. Corey, where'd you go? Get back up here. I hate how it goes to that, like that. Yeah, there we go. All right. Corey DeAngelis, everybody.
How much worse it could be for younger people. So I fought against this kind of material being included in the classroom. I've been consistent.
This kind of material is not in a classroom unless that's what you're going to learn to do. Like, actually be in porn. Maybe they teach you. But this is not in the classroom. I want to know what classroom this guy's teaching in. That this is in a classroom. I'll take that class. Oh.
I've changed my life. People change over time, and you can be consistent in supporting something for adults while vehemently opposing it for children. And Chris Rufo at the Manhattan Institute.
Oh, so he does support this for adults. Interesting. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of it. Do you get the same thing? Yeah, Lady Rose DeAngelis should be his drag name. Do I want to keep the same last name? We'll work on that. But I mean, clearly, because he's already used Rose as his last name, as the straight dude with his buddies, is how I think most of the videos is how he tried to identify. Yeah, Ken's got the same question I do. Can he please tell me when porn is in the classroom? I will wait for the lie. You know, I'm not waiting. I want to sign up for that class. I want to take that class. God knows there's a lot that I could probably learn. All right.
Has been a huge supporter throughout this entire process. He has done 2 tweets in support of me. And he pointed out in his most recent one, quote, cancellation requires consent. Well, guess what? I do not consent to this smear campaign.
So he is not consenting to them canceling him. Cancellation does not require consent. If I have tens of thousands of listeners right now, and I either suck or I do something like be a hypocrite like you, Corey, Seth, I can sit here in this chair as long as I want, bitching and crying and screaming and doing whatever into this microphone. If people are tired of me, I'm done. Howard Stern said that. If you don't like me, turn me off. People aren't liking you because you put out bad videos. I'll let you all know tomorrow. People aren't liking you because you're a hypocrite. And people aren't liking you because you take this hypocrisy and you try to influence others to teach children to think like you. That's why you're an ass. This isn't that hard. In fact, there's like two shows going on here. There's me, and then there's Ken interviewing me in the middle of the comments. Ken wants to know what my porn name would be. My middle name is Anthony, so I kind of figured on probably using Tony. I can't use the street that I live on because it's Veronica. You know, that ain't going to work. I don't know. Tony Mexico, in honor of the Gulf of Mexico. Hope Sportcat's listening. I don't know. We'll have to work on that. I'll star that in the comments so I know to come back to it if we ever get through 10 minutes of this.
Slinging, it is something dug up from my past, something, again, I'm not proud of, and something that fuels my fire to keep this material away from children.
Okay, you know what? There's something we can agree on, Seth. Nobody's putting this in front of children except the three other Republicans that I found earlier this week. That's who's putting it in front of children. Let's talk to them. Let's gear this video towards them instead of hating on the left. Like the left is evil. And yes, there are some people in the left that are. But I think we found some others too who might not be found on the left.
Well, yeah, and I think that is the part of.
So Billy Hallowell here is going to use one of my phrases that I just absolutely love. I hope you're sensing the sarcasm because he's about to double down. Oh, he's a tough journalist now. He's going to double down.
Part of this, you know, when something comes out from somebody's past, you know, a lot of us have things in our past we don't want to talk about, whether it's a family issue or whatever. You know, there's all sorts of things that people have that they're personal to them.
I must have a great life because I'll talk about anything. I got stuff in my past that, yeah, maybe I'm glad it's in my past, but I'll talk about it. Whether it's in the therapy I used to be in or here. Jane and I say that our sessions together on Mondays are very therapeutic. Maybe I'll have to talk about something like that then. I'll talk about my porn career. It was very short. The career was very short. That's a TikTok video waiting to happen.
To them. And you just said something very interesting that this has sort of fueled your passion for education. And before we get into that,
Here he goes.
I just want to double down a little bit
There
on one of
it
the
is.
things.
He's
You know, the
gonna
critics are
double
saying, "Oh,
down.
you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite because you did this thing 10 years ago, and now."
No, he's not a hypocrite because he did anything 10 years ago. He's a hypocrite because he's blaming it on the people he did it with.
Now you're speaking out against it. And you spoke to that just now, but I want to come back to it because, you know, in your view,
Look at Billy here. Are we Amish? Like, is he letting the scruff go around the chin and he's trimming the upper lip? Or is he like me? I can't grow a beard to save my life. And I do a little bit more of a mustache and pretty much goatee, but my cheeks are like always baby boy cheeks.
you see at all any sort of, you know, to say, okay, well, you can't speak out for school choice or against this kind of material being there for kids while you have this in your past? I mean, just address that critique directly again.
Yeah, one, people change.
He can speak out against putting this in his past, or rather, no, he can speak out against this being in front of kids if it was in front of kids. I don't see a lot of 8th graders in my neighborhood hiding behind a bunch of trees with their pants down by their ankles. No, I don't see it.
Change over time, and two, you can support something for adults while being against it for children. I mean,
Yeah, 100%. Guns, adult entertainment or activities of any kind. But don't say that when you were doing those adult activities that it was a bad thing. It's not. You trying to make them the victim is the bad thing. We're coming up on our first hour. Whew. And we're 3 minutes into it, baby. Oh, Howard Stern, eat your heart out. Now, my web developer says he's free for a call. He knows I'm on the air at this time. $4 p.m., not RPM. All right. Yeah, I've got to do some plugs here. Let everybody know where everybody's at, and of course, I'll let you know where you can find Corey. I mean, why not, right? We're going up the middle today. Clowns to the left, hypocrisy to the right, and America One Radio nowhere in between. I still have not heard me in this time slot. You know what? Let's try it again. Have any of you, let me know in the chat, Ken, America One Radio. Let me see if they fixed it. I doubt it. No. So nothing there. And yet another check of the schedule. Have they taken me off the schedule? 11 a.m. up the middle. And it's Larry, is what I heard. So I don't know what show they've got on, but reach out to America One. I'm going to take this off because I'm pretty much going to give up on them. I've emailed them at every single email I have. Admin, the guy, I forget what his name is. That's kind of the problem. I always have to go through a bunch of things in my contacts as a search to try to figure out who this guy is that manages this, fails to manage the station. But just, I first reached out to them through the contact tab at AmericaOneRadio.com. Let's do this on the daily. Please do it right now. We'll all do it together. If you're watching on your phone and you're sitting at your desk, or just pop open a new tab on your phone. America One, the word ONE, radio.com. Click on that tab button and tell them you want up the middle back on. This is an excellent opportunity for them to dominate with a very much growing show that's now on DNR Studios, another progressive station in the Atlanta area, because we're no longer on at the FM station in Atlanta. I cut that contract because they weren't sticking up to it. All right, so there's that one. Our meetup group. For those of you wanting to get into radio, for those of you who are in radio, for those of you who are in any type of content creation, any type, maybe OnlyFans, maybe, you worked with Corey, Seth, whoever, go to meetup.com/internet-terrestrial-radio-group, or just search Radio Roundtable, or just search Yergs. You'll find me. You'll find us. Get into that group. It's a cool bunch of people. Instead of like some meetup groups, like the one I was on this morning at 8 a.m. and every Thursday at 8 a.m., uh, Podcasters, Creators, and Makers, PCM, every Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern. That's good for those of us that can be at that time, every time. But if you're like our colleague and friend David Beckmeyer, who's on the on the left coast out there in the Bay Area, he's getting up at 4:30 every morning, his time, to be on with us at 5 every morning, his time, and he's a religious attendee. If you're somewhere where you can't really admit to watching or listening to a show like this, write me and let me know, like those in Moscow, Kyiv, Gaza. Let me know, and we'll keep putting stories out there relevant to where you're at. You can do so by writing me, Yergs, at sheyergs.com, CHEZYERGZ.com. The Sea Ranch Civic Association is a great place to be. Anywhere in the Nature Coast or northern Tampa Bay, go to mysrca.com and sign up today. Call the Capitol Switchboard at 202-224-3121. Tell your senators and your congressman or woman, your representative from the House, that Doge gotta goes. Also, remember to check out DNR Studios. Go to dnrstudios.com and learn more about their whole site and the DNR Cast app. Jane Stahl is available through Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. That's the art gallery that she manages. You can find her at Studio BBB, 3Bs.org. She's also the co-editor of the Boyertown Area Expression. That's our town's digital newspaper. Go to boyertownareaexpression.town.news. Philip Blackett was with me yesterday. All of his socials are at Philip Blackett. Philip with one L, Blackett with two T's. Matt at dailycryptonews.net or at info@deemerforcongress.com. We'll see him tomorrow. He's the host of the Daily Crypto News, and Blake Fisher, the host of The Homeless Conservative. You can reach him, Blake, at thehomelessconservative.com. You can get us all news, NEWZ, at Yergs, YERGZ.com. For more information and show notes, go to yergs.com and mastiff.media. Sportcat will be joining you in 1 hour. And I'll be joining you right after this. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum at Momentum Fitness. Hi. I'm going to figure out here. There we go. Build a Space. Build a Space is the guy that I was just messaging a couple of minutes ago. I think we can take paranormal off. Build a Space has so many different services, web development, marketing. They actually also, and I do need to talk to him later today, because they also do ad sales. Like, why could they not put my show and the station as part of their package with a little bit of money? I can wholesale the hours to them. You can too. Go to build a space. Build a space. I think I have a thing for that. Hold on. Let's put that up there. Maybe it's in QR codes. There we go. Where are you at? Biz growth. Biz growth. Do I not have anything for build a space? Come on. Where are they at? Let's go. Come on. Where you at? I know you're here somewhere. No, they're not. Look at that. All right, well, let's open up there. QR codes. I like the QR code thing, honestly. HTTPS. There we go. And put that up there. There it is up there in the corner. Build a space. You can just scan that QR code. And I'll take you there. Or go to build a, one word, dot space. That's it. Just like dot media, mastiff.media, the UG.media, one of our other stations. We'll be live with them tomorrow. Go to build a dot space and learn more, especially about the Biz Growth Collective. Now let me put that over here. There we go. One of the biggest products, the Biz Growth Collective. I'm telling you, that is going to be your replacement to LinkedIn. For that, go to bizgrowthcollective.com/join. Join today. I like the music. All right, let's get to our guy. Try and get through some more of this in the next hour. What do you think? We're at 3 minutes and 24 seconds. We have 24 minutes left in this video. We're not going to get through the whole thing. I knew that. I don't want to. How much are we going to get through? Where are we going to stop? At what time? How much are we going to have viewed by the end of today's show? Or whenever I cut it, in the event that we do get to other topics. I got some more email I want to talk about. So let me know. And as only Ken can have it, there's more in the chat. Still not sure about what my porn name would be. We'll come back to that. Yeah, that's a great question, Ken. Do you think he, this Corey DeAngelis guy, would talk about the right that has been caught with children? Why are we not scolding them? Why are we not looking at our own? And he liked my cheeks thing. Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing about America One Radio. Like, is this guy dead? He answered me through the website, and we had been emailing ever since, as recently, I think, as successfully anyway, as early January. Because actually, if he's not interested in managing anymore, the station and all the information, I'd love to buy it and add it to Mastiff Media Network. Two more minutes. I don't know what that's for. Oh, we're only going to get through 2 more minutes? Is that what you're saying? That's I don't know. That's fair. We have 53 minutes, just over 53 minutes left. So mathematically, I think we might do a little bit more than that because it took a little while until we actually started the video. Let's see what we can do, huh? So here is Corey DeAngelis again. I'm going to pan that down. And So now what were we talking about? We're talking about keeping this out of classrooms and, being steered in a bad direction, and the fact that people change. I don't even know if I agree with that, to be honest. I really don't know if I agree with that. I mean, you are who you are. And if anything, just you are who you are. Be who you are. And I'm not saying you gotta bring those videos into the classroom, Corey, because that's one of the things we all agree on. But I mean, it's not like you really did a bad thing.
I mean, this doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, but this had nothing to do with logic from the very get-go. These are people who are my political opponents who wanted to try to cancel me and
No. This actually has everything to do with logic. Why, you ask? Well, because a logical person would not be speaking out after. There's plenty of other evil in the world. You don't have to be. What I want to know is this one of the reasons why he's so anti-porn? Like, is he trying to teach himself something? Is he trying to retrain, or whatever we want to say? Because look at the three biggest, at least in recent memory, the three biggest anti-LGBT members of Congress: Lindsey Graham, who has been in his own tabloid story of sexcapades. Yes, with a guy. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I don't know that it's true. I don't know that I haven't met the guy, but I know people very reliable and much better connected than I into the DC Capitol Hill clandestine rings, that straight anti-LGBT, oh, I'm just single, I just haven't ever married. Anti-LGBT crusader Lindsey Graham is married to his male chief of staff. I'm not saying that's true. I'm telling you it's what I heard, because that's fact. That is what I heard. And I've never, for as long as he's just said that he's just single, I've never heard him deny that statement. So there's one. Aaron Schock, conservative right wing, look kind of like this guy from Wisconsin, is now dating a guy. But my favorite, because I'm about equality and everybody being able to get whatever they're trying to get, I forget his name, but the furry diaper guy, the guy whose ass is so hairy it looks like he's wearing a diaper, who is in the wheelchair from, I think it was North Carolina. Remember the humping video where he jumped out of his wheelchair and crawled onto his roommate? Another Republican. There's your hypocrisy, Corey. It's not just you. Oh, where's my mouse at here? Hey, we made 10 seconds, right?
try to hurt me financially. They also came after my family. They wanted to cancel my family bond. My wife already knew about it.
Nobody cares about your family. This is what is so funny about so many of the He's going to talk about text messages that his wife received. Corey, Seth, Rose, I promise you, the very few text messages that you and or your wife received is but a small fraction of the people who are aware of this story, who, by the way, are not contacting you because you don't matter. Until I get far enough into, well, then he won't matter as much. As soon as I get as far as we're deciding we're going to go. All right.
All this stuff. It wasn't a surprise to her. She's been stronger than I have been throughout the entire process. She had people DMing her, even not just me. And these people wanted to try to tell her to get out of the marriage, to file for divorce.
It's not because you're gay. It's because you're gay. See, that made a lot more sense of what it did. And I'm not saying that he's gay. He is married. I saw that, caught that part earlier. Great. And if she can get past it, hey, maybe there's something in it for her, or in her with it, as it were.
She never entertained any of that, obviously, but it just goes to show you.
Never say never. Never underestimate a pissed off mama.
How evil the other side can be. They don't just want to hurt you from an economic perspective.
This is where he's making a huge mistake. Yeah, he's playing to his base, who will believe his silliness, already does. But to think that this is the other side's fault, that you drop trowel in front of a camera? No. And what's going to eventually happen is those people who are supporting you now are going to stop supporting you, but not because you did anything naked or you did anything gay. It's because they're going to see another event like this that's probably going to more directly affect them. Like, I don't know, veterans benefits being canceled, or Social Security being taken by billionaires. Services you don't need because you can't even spell gun, let alone pick one up. And then you got the money, you're not going to care about collecting Social Security. No.
They want to rip your entire family apart. I had direct messages of people telling me to go kill myself because.
Okay, well, if that's true, that's not okay. But I promise you, Corey, Seth, Rose, nobody cares about your family. Nobody cares about your family. Just stop with that. To anybody with a brain, right now, you look like such an immature ass. Hey, you got caught with your pants down, as it were. Laugh it off. Say, yes, I was young. It wasn't the decision I would have liked to have made, but I made the decision like you did in the beginning. Great job there. Then say, you know what, Billy? I think we're done. What else do I have to say? I'm not going to blame it on the left. It wasn't their fault. And I, for example, know plenty of those people that I know who are Trump supporters. I'm not quite the fan of them that I used to be, I'll be honest. But that's their right, and I'm not going to infringe on that. Stop infringing on the left and blaming the left because, let's see, who am I on right now? What can I say? Yeah, Yeah. Stop infringing on the left because you're a piece of shit. Let's do that, Corey. 4 minutes and 12 seconds.
Because they know how hectic it could be during this time, and that it would be a lot quieter and a lot more peaceful if I were to just go through the route of suicide, which is...
Nobody's suggesting suicide. And I'm not saying that you didn't get those texts. That's not cool. That's horrible. On behalf of people who deal with suicide, there are 10 people in my life that I've lost through that sad situation. I do not want you to be one of them, especially if you still got that chest that we saw earlier. But no, that's not okay. But I promise you, because I've heard horrible things said to me as well, let it go. Let it go. You don't need that. Let it go, dude. And don't try to use it now as like some soapbox. Let it go. Because if that is being done by the left or the right or whoever, you are giving them that soapbox right now. Remember when you said cancellation requires consent? So does propaganda. Propaganda requires consent. You have to consent to bitch about their activity. Should be looking at the camera, not at the monitor. You're there. You have to consent. Because remember, I went through this just from being at a barbecue and a cocktail party. Pun intended. But nobody was naked. You have to consent to the hatred to push that further. You don't consent to the cancellation. If your community kicks you out, your community has kicked you out. And for a lot of these people, all the mea culpas in the world aren't going to get you back in. It's kind of how you find out who the people are that you would rather be with in the first place. Your friends and that chosen family are the people who know you. And they know about this, like your wife. But they love you anyway. We all have faults, dude. We all have faults. We all have opinions. And we all have assholes. Some of them stink more than others. There would be a great spot to end, but I can't. I got to see what else this guy said. All right, let's do it.
Just something I would never do. Again, cancellation requires consent.
No, it doesn't. Stop that. Propaganda requires consent. You need to consent to further your own bullshit. Oh, I see a puppy heading for our back door. Let me take a quick break. We come back. We'll get through this, and then we'll get through some other things, tariffs and lots of other lovely things. You are listening or watching Up the Middle. Yes, baby, I'm coming. On the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this. I'm just going to play music. All right. So, hold on a minute. Where's that there? All right, let's get through a little bit more of this.
That is not something that I am ever going to consent to. I will continue fighting to fight. I'm not going away. And look, the same people, I mean, the funny part, the ironic part about all of this is the people calling me a hypocrite. They are the ones who are hypocrites here because they support this kind of material, not just for adults, but for children.
Nobody supports this for children. Nobody. Stop that. This is the criminal investigator in me when we're interrogating or interviewing somebody and you knowingly hear a lie. We're taught to never accept the lie unless we know it's coming and we're going to set a trap for them. We never accept a lie into a statement because then we have to accept it as truth. Let's get through some more comments here. I don't think Corey's actually being truthful with himself, which is the start root issue. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's still gay. Yeah. You mean, yeah, he's still gay. He stutters too much. He stutters too much, in my opinion, having conducted interviews of this type of nature with somebody intentionally being deceiving and with having a reason to be deceiving. Like, I don't want to go to jail, or I don't want to be in trouble with my wife. If I was telling you a story that happened, I would be able to, presuming, of course, I know the details of it. I would be able to take you through that story point by point and not, stutter through he's doing a lot of stammering. He corrected funny to ironic. No, it's there. There's people laughing at you over this, and they are on that left. They are your political opponents because they're saying the same things I am. You could have handled this situation way differently. Yes, that's me. You said that. Yes, I'm nude. You said that. I think the industry likes to use naked. Bible people like him like to use the word nude. I ain't got no clothes on. The poor English was there intentionally. But then leave it go. Don't be like me and take 2 hours to get through 5 minutes of video. Let it go. And then, Ken says, I need to toss the monitor. A similar, first time I got any sort of line like that was from the movie Breach, which is the docudrama on Robert Hansen, a senior executive at the FBI who is one of the most damaging spies in our nation's history, having spied for the Soviet Union and then Russia before being caught and sent to jail for life. He's very conservative, and there was a Planned Parenthood interview being done by a lesbian who was wearing a pantsuit. He's not a Hillary Clinton fan either. And he says to Ryan Philippe's character, damn near ripped the cable out of the wall. All right. Before I do that, let's go a little bit further, and I think we get the point.
And they would celebrate if this kind of material came out about someone on their side. They would support it. They'd say, "Go you."
Wait a minute. I got to back up. I just saw something.
I mean, the funny part, the ironic part about all of this is
That's a little too far.
And they would celebrate if this kind of material came out about someone on their side. They would
look at those fingernails. Wow. Somebody's had a mani or 10. I'm nervous. I sit here and look at that. Are those acrylic? And that's a rock for a ring you got there, girl. I love all these religious types with their flashy jewelry. What do you think that watch really costs? Do you think he's got an actual good watch, expensive watch, or is it crap? But I'll tell you what, he spends money on those fingernails. Woo! Gracious.
They would support it. They'd say, "Go you! This is so fantastic. You're exploring your true self," is what they would say.
Yes, and so are you. Your true self. Your male bonding true self. Nothing wrong with that. That's not where you made a mistake.
Hey, and only because I disagree with them on the concept of the money following the child when it comes to K through 12 education.
This is not sex ed. If your videos are being used as sex ed, I'll run for that school board and I want to teach that class.
The concept of school choice is so dangerous to them. They went all out to come out again after.
School choice is not dangerous. I don't want to be paying property taxes for a school district that's going to continue to suck because you rich people are sending your kids somewhere else and having my property taxes go for that. That's what they don't like. That's what we, who don't like your voucher system, oppose. We still need infrastructure. We still need money going to the school that has to educate people who can't pick their favorite private school.
After me and to try to cancel me, it's not happening.
You know, it's insane to hear that people would reach out to your wife, would reach out to try to send you these horrific messages as well. I'm not shocked by it, but at the same time, you think to yourself, what in the world is going on where something that is political or issues based, right? And then something personal coalesces and people use that personal thing to try to dismantle a family. I mean, that
I gotta question whether anybody's really trying to dismantle a family. If that is the case, that is not okay. But we got to go back to maybe taking a little bit of the responsibility for the situation that you're in and not saying that it's the left that's misleading you or misguiding you. Where was Jesus then?
That's a whole other level. And it kind of brings me back to this cancel culture question because you've known about cancel culture for a long time. We all do. But when you go through an experience like what you have been going through over the past week and a half or so, what have you learned maybe
week and a half?
What new
when does this video come out? Because that article that I found about him being fired was from back in October. Let me see. I think no. Oh yeah. October 4th. Okay. All right. So this is 6 months old. Yeah. I mean, still, I'm going to keep it alive. I mean, why not? A little bit more and then we'll kill it. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 93 minutes to look at 6 minutes of footage. Now you know how long it takes me to edit an episode.
have you been given now that you personally have had to deal with sort of the cancel culture aspect of this, not just with the critics on the other side, but even some of the people maybe on your own side?
Yeah,
Well, you
hello.
find out who your friends are. And so I had, even before I went public and was able to do that,
No, you find out who people with actual morals are because maybe they don't want to follow the leadership of a hypocrite, which you are.
had so many friends within the movement calling me, texting
Yeah, so many friends within the porn industry call and say, "Hey, man, I see you're back. You got fired. You want to come back to work?"
me in a supportive way. I didn't have anybody calling me and saying, "Oh my goodness, how dare you do this and be part of our movement." It was people
Didn't he just say that they were all calling to tell him to off himself?
embracing me, wanting me to march on, come forward. If anything, people were telling me
Come forward. Yeah, all over the sofa. Come on. You weren't thinking that? We're on internet radio now. I can crack a joke like that once in a while.
to go public sooner. They're like, come on, we want to rally behind you. We want to support you, but you got to lead on this and you need to come out and make a statement. I
Yeah,
wanted
you
to
take
do
your
so
clothes off
from
first.
much earlier than I did before, but I had reasons as to why I had to wait until I did so. It was such a breath of fresh
Yeah, you had reasons. You thought you weren't going to get busted. That's your reason. There's one reason, and that's it. That's your reason. Dun, da, da. And now we got busted, so we got to go. Wah, wah. There's a program I was looking at yesterday called Sam Broadcaster or Samcast. SAM is an acronym, stands for Streaming Automation Management, I think. It actually has sound effects right into the whole system. You don't have to go another third party. They're all right there. Oh, we got to play.
fresh air to finally turn that corner, to go public and to have the embrace of my friends. And it also goes to show you that the trolls go away.
Here's a serious question now. When you got the embrace of your friends and they gave that bro hug, put their arms around you, did they get a little squeeze in? They grabbed the ass? Inquiring minds want to know.
Over time. And over time,
no, because apparently we don't. This was from 6 months ago, and here I am.
When they start to bring it up, like even today, it hasn't even been that long. They're the ones that look like weirdos in my comments bringing up.
No, I got to disagree there, kiddo. No, I am not the one looking like a weirdo. Not with that haircut.
Up those things. This is mostly blown over. The people who bring it up, it seems like they're.
If this is mostly blown over, what are you doing another interview for? Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Go get naked with your wife. And maybe that's a baby of yours up on that top shelf there. Go get naked with your wife. Create another one of those. Praise Jesus. And let it go. Oh, I think that's what we're going to do. All right. So there he is, Seth Rose, a.k.a., well, actually, I guess the real name is Corey DeAngelis, a.k.a. Seth Rose, a.k.a. Rose something. We got to come back to that. We got to figure out what that drag name is going to be, because I think there's potential there. Drag, guys that are in drag, that first of all, they have that short hair. I can never do drag with this mop because there'd be no place to put it unless we, use my natural hair. But guys usually have really short hair like that because it won't come out from underneath a wig. But they also, the ones that I see that are really good at it have that long, narrow face right like that. This is guy I dated that he started getting to that after he dumped me. And he actually looks good. I mean, not like I would want to, but, he does all right. And he's happy. All right. Uh, see, let me pull up those emails that I was telling you about because like CNN's got a good story that I wanted to talk further about. Um, oh wow, there's a crack. Did you hear that? Oh, oh, okay. Where's it at now? The Krasensteins, who I don't like, these two brothers that are really far left progressives. Once in a while, they kind of, blind squirrels find nuts. They get an email out. And I was one of the paying like $5 a month, and they didn't do anything for like 2 months. I'm like, dude, what am I paying for? I can get your free stuff without paying. So we don't pay for that anymore. But Trump tariffs are a tool for authoritarianism. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to tell you this is their. Oh, they have an app now. Read in app. Good for you. At least you're doing something with the money that you're taking from us. And just in the headlines, I can tell you, they're making good points. And the point that I'm going to make about it, there we go. The point that I'm going to make about it is that I've been saying this. Maybe you want to listen to me now. From the Krasensteins, moving the wrong one. There we go. Urgent. Well, I love this. Urgent. Breaking. And then they post something on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook. Breaking. Egg prices are down. Gas prices are down. Media silent. They have that emoji with the zipper across the mouth. I usually reply with, also breaking. The above post is bullshit because I just came from the grocery store, which is where I'm going in about another 20 minutes. So maybe for the news this afternoon, I'll have some updated grocery prices. Gas was at $3.20. I'm in rural Tampa. Cheap gas at the medium grade places was at $3.20 a gallon. The Shell station was at like $3.35. $3.35. Yeah. Upgrade to paid. No, thank you. I like that artwork. That's cool. I like that. Do that. But yeah, I mean, I think as political cartoons go, I think that's representative of what's happening. I would like to see a little bit more color in the audience because it would be even more accurately representative of what's happening. And I mean that in like skin tone. Let's not sugarcoat this. This is, again, from the Krasenstein's email. What Donald Trump is doing with tariffs isn't economics. It's economic extortion. I think that's a good word for it. This is not about protecting American industries or outsmarting China. It's about power. It's about control. And most of all, it's about using the tools of government to reward obedience and punish resistance. I've been saying this. It's a page ripped directly from the authoritarian playbook. And if we don't call it what it is, like I've been doing, we'll wake up one day to find democracy, find a fly on my hand, to find democracy we thought we lived in, quietly hollowed out. That's happening now. What are you people looking at? Come on, Brian and Ken and whatever the hell your names are. It's Brian's one and Now they just go with Krasenstein. I guess they hold hands, and maybe the arm in arm. The guy on the right uses his right hand. The guy on the left uses. That would be cool. The autocrats' oldest trick: tax the dissenters, subsidize the loyalists. I started doing this too, not taxing or subsidizing anybody, but going with autocrat instead of dictator. It's the same thing, but it's a bit more of a intellectual term. Nobody on the right knows what an autocrat is because they've got nothing more than a 7th grade reading level. And that's a stat. There's people like that in the left too. I'm not saying there's not, but I'm saying the average American has a 7th grade or less reading level. And still something like, I forget what the percentage of adults are that don't read at all. We've got like a 20% illiteracy. I mean, before I get flagged again by ScrewTube, let's see what it is. U.S. literacy rate, boom, is 79%. 21% of adults are illiterate. 1 in 5 adults are illiterate. Additionally, 54% of adults have a literacy level below 6th grade. And maybe that's why we should not be using it. Maybe that's why we should still be just saying dictator. Because that's all they understand. Throughout history, despots and dictators have wielded economic policies not to uplift their nations, but to dominate them. In British ruled India, the colonizers levied crushing taxes on salt, grain, and textiles, basic necessities in life, while offering sweetheart deals to loyal collaborators. When Indians protested, they were met not with negotiation, but with the brute force of an empire determined to keep them submissive. Why, that does sound familiar. Benito Mussolini, no, not Mango Mussolini, Benito Mussolini, the original one, imposed heavy tariffs not to boost Italy's economy, but to ensure that favored industrialists who praised his fascist regime got exemptions and favorable treatment. Businesses had to play ball with Il Duce or they got buried. Vladimir Putin used selective taxation and subsidies in Russia to tighten his grip on oligarchs. Those who aligned with the Kremlin flourished. Those who didn't, like Mikhail Khodorkovsky, nope, I mispronounced it. Let me try that again. Like Mikhail Khodorkovsky, were crushed under the weight of politically motivated prosecutions and economic strangulation. Hugo Chavez in Venezuela taxed and nationalized dissenting industries while subsidizing those loyal to the Bolivarian Revolution. The result was warped economy, a broken democracy, and a country forced to cheer or starve. Do you see the pattern? Do you now understand why the price of eggs have not come down the way you're saying it has? And why the price of gas is going up? Trump's version, tariffs as blackmail. Trump is doing the same thing, just dressed up in the language of America First trade policy. By the way, Germany used that same type of terminology. Nationalist view. Pull that up too. We don't want ScrewTube to take the video down. Oh. Somebody in the GOP is now speaking out against T-Rump. Name for German nationalism. Besides Nazi, there was another name that maybe it's just the nationalism that I'm thinking of. Because it's a lot of nationalism. Maybe that's just a word. Then there's Anschluss, which is reunification. It's probably just nationalism. I'll look into it further. And what relief? Or here's his blueprint. Broad, painful tariffs that will harm American industries. Wait for the businesses to feel the pain. Offer relief, but only if they come to the administration on bended knee. And what is the relief? Strings will be attached. Are you donating to MAGA-aligned PACs? Like some have already done. The law firm that was targeted is offering $40 million of legal services. I could use that. When I adopted my son, I was told I was going to get financial aid from the state. That was cut with no explanation why. There wasn't even really any due process in it either. I couldn't appeal. I tried to. They said I didn't have an appeal process. When we had this hurricane, I was told I was going to get help from Florida. The governor of this state stood in my driveway and said to my face, help is on the way. That was the last time that I heard from the state of Florida. That was it. FEMA, same thing. I was denied twice for FEMA assistance. Are your CEOs speaking positively about Trump? We know some tech CEOs that are. Are your employees keeping quiet about the politics in the office? I had to do that at the Secret Service. I couldn't speak positively about the Clintons or the Obamas. Meanwhile, everybody else was mother effing them left and right and high-fiving each other when Trump won. From a non-political law enforcement agency, that's not a good idea. Are you allowing Trump to take credit for, quote unquote, saving your company? The progress that I've made is not because of Trump, nor has it been during Trump. That's not trade policy. That's political blackmail. It's a modern-day version of the mob racket. Nice business you've got there. Shame if something happened to it. And he talks about the slow death of dissent. I wonder if Sportcat's going to join me for here today. We got about 10 minutes left. This is about silencing critics. It's about creating an environment where fear dictates compliance. I mean, what is he trying to do in his video here? What is Seth Rose trying to do in his video? Corey DeAngelis. Cancellation requires consent. Isn't that what he said? Well, no, it doesn't, Corey. It doesn't require that at all. Pressuring law firms and local officials to fall in line or face consequences. Now he's turning up the heat on the entire business sector. The Krasensteins are suggesting a way out. It's not too late, so they say. I want to see that too. We've seen flickers of courage up the middle, like when a few Senate Republicans crossed the aisle to push back on Trump's tariff demands just last night. It's not a tidal wave yet, but it's a start. Here's the thing. Autocracy thrives in silence. I've been saying that too. Democracy thrives in defiance. That's it. Not on our watch. And that's what I'm going to leave it at. I don't have a link to this because this is the email. Maybe if it's a Substack. So copy link. Let me see if I can open this without having to open anything or register for anything. The app for independent voices. That's the Substack. Okay, that's great. You would have to log into Substack. I'm clicking it. All it does is open up the homepage of Substack. Get the Substack app. I don't want it on my phone. I want it on my desktop, which I already have. So I don't know why it's not opening it up because I should be logged in. But if you want this email, let me know and I can forward it to you. I'll save it for a while. Or no, I'm not going to make I could get a screenshot of the whole thing. That's not going to be any good. So I'll just hold on to it for a while. If you want it, I'll forward it to you. You can sign up for the Krasenstein stuff. I don't know if they're doing anything with the paid side of the house. Maybe they don't have an app because that's Substack. It's just a subscription on their end to Substack to have a blog, which I'm putting on my website. So I don't know that I'm going to even continue with Substack. But let me know if you want this. If you want to read more of it, happy to send it to you. We got to get through some plugs in case people from the last hour or missed it in the last hour. There it is. One more time. America One Radio. Go to AmericaOneRadio.com. Click on the tab, the contact tab. Contact us. Contact whatever they have said there. Click on that. Fill it out for whatever information you're willing to share. And tell them that they have an opportunity to dominate up the middle in the Atlanta market. That Yergs has left the FM station. That he's 2 hours a day every day. In their time, 11A to 1P. And it's a great opportunity to have a really good discussion. And I would love for them to be a part of it. They're missing out. Join our meetup group. Let's see if I can. I think I'm logged into it though. Yeah, see, it logs me in. Let's see if I can search anyway. Radio Round Table. Yeah, see, it doesn't. Yes. Okay, so here's what you search. Right there. If you can't get that link, that's fine. Just go to Meetup and search Radio Roundtable, and there's a tab, Events and Groups. Click on the groups. I'm the first one. Awesome. Let's find out what's coming up next. Sportcat's here. And, yo, man, what's happening?
Oh, not much. Can you hear me? Or am I muted?
Gotcha. Nope.
Okay, well, Well, I figured I haven't had a chance to check into it, but I figured you've probably got all the politics covered and all the tariff stuff. So,
No, we were actually just getting into that. Hold
well,
on, I'll share it with you because I'm sure you'll appreciate. Um, du-du-du-du-du-du. No, that's not the one.
tool of authority.
I gotta,
Turn
I
that
gotta
off.
go back to replace
Turn it off.
entire
Where's
screen. There we go.
Mix? Where's Mix?
So we were talking about this lad. This is Seth Rose. You might know him as Corey DeAngelis, who's a right wing education guy. I spent 2 hours. We got through 7 minutes and 15 seconds worth of video.
Is
In
it
2
good
hours.
or bad? Is that
That's
good or bad? I don't know.
That's me, is what that is.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I got
uh,
it.
yeah, that's the right one. So yeah, we didn't get to tariffs yet. Well, that'll have to be tomorrow with the guys. What do you got coming up?
Well, I'm going to do more weather. I mean, and then some of the
that's-
ice stuff, but the
Yep.
weather thing's the main thing. And everything, I did look for the articles on the tariff and all that, but my problem was I couldn't find one where the author of the whatever you want to call it, the piece, the journalism didn't insert his opinion. So I could go and find multiple ones, but they all had
Yeah.
different opinions, and I'm really not a fan of that. Tell me the facts. What is this going to cost
Yeah.
my mom? What is this going to cost me? That's what I want to know. And I'll be honest, I searched pretty dang good, and I looked through all my normal sites, and everybody has a spin on it, and I don't want to spin. I want to
Yeah.
hit me in the nuts. How many quarters am I gonna have to put into the machine? And let's move on. And everybody wants to just, it's a bad thing.
That's why
It's irrelevant.
I'm
It's a
trying
thing.
to take the I'm trying to take the news hour that's going to follow you, the Mastiff Media Magazine. It's going to have a spin too. I can sit here and watch an event and tell our listeners what I see.
Sure.
You can watch that same event, have a totally separate story, and we can both be equally as accurate. And so that's
Exactly.
the thing we have to deal with when we look through different. And we'll have to take, we'll have to realize pros and cons, and that's why I try to also go with both sides of, here's what his pro-Trump people are saying, here's what the rest of the world is saying, or whatever. I mean, right there, that comment right there, something I would not do if I'm in, unless literally I can show that it's the rest of the world that's disagreeing, or whatever percentage I give that's disagreeing. And so I feel for you.
Yeah. I looked at the UK, I looked at China sites, and everybody had, and I did notice one thing that struck me: Mexico and Canada and Russia were not on that press release or whatever it was. He held up the graphic, and I don't know if that was because there just wasn't enough room, and that was like the top 10 or whatever. But I'd like to know the answer to that, because the rumor was that Canada was going to give us a zero tariff so that we're equal, but I don't know if that's true. So, and then we're already putting so many sanctions on Russia and Iran. I can see why they probably wouldn't be on there, because we're probably at like 100, almost 100%. So I can kind of see that, but I'd like to I would like to at least know the answer to those questions. And I can't find where anybody answered those, for one.
Right.
And then when I look at a China website, or I won't say China, but an Asian news service, theirs is more geared towards them. I looked at an Australian one, and it's geared towards the UK. And I look at one for us, and well, you could be anything from a maggot to the greatest thing since God. So I threw my hands up in the air and said, I'm going with what I know, weather.
Well, and that's the comment that I made in our closed chat for Jurg's Radio. Was this is a once in a generation storm that's happening right now?
Yeah. And
like, what about the 200-year storms that we had 6 months ago?
Yeah. It's all about sensationalism. But now that piece, I read it, and I think that was through his eyes as a Midwesterner, because he had probably never experienced a hurricane. And unless you've been in one, you really don't know what to expect. Unless you've been in a tornado, it's like me saying something about an earthquake. I've been in one that shook the room, made the ceiling fan rattle, but I don't know what a mega earthquake is. So I think that was just from his perspective, but it was good piece. And I think that they're changing these terms around because people aren't paying attention. Because I've noticed in my lifetime, watches and warnings were everybody pretty much knew what they were. But now we're not paying attention because, our phone will alert us or somebody will tell me. So people aren't paying attention. So I think they're being more aggressive with putting those warnings out. But like last night, they had 15 tornado emergencies at one time. And that is unheard of. So
have you, something I've noticed within the past year, and maybe it's going on for longer than that. Have you noticed that they started naming winter storms also?
I did a piece on that. Yes, that was because of the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel is not a National Weather Service policy. That is the Weather Channel's policy.
Okay.
And it was because they say it's easier to keep up with and people associate it more, which goes back to my way of thinking is we've dumbed it down for our smartphone.
So is it the same formula? Like, are we going A through Z? And do we have a predetermined list, even if it's only used at the Weather Channel?
I do not know the answer if they have a predetermined list. I don't know the answer to that. I would assume they do.
This year's list for hurricanes for the
it's out
in Caribbean. Yeah, if it's not out, it's coming out soon. Yeah.
It's been out for a couple weeks. Because I read them in one of my shows, and but no, I don't know the answer to the winter piece. I will find out because they should, but the National Weather Service and the Weather Channel are butting heads about that. The National Weather Service will use their term even though it's not official because so many people are watching. I mean, for years that was like CNN. They were the first. There's really, I mean, I think Fox now has a Weather Channel. I think maybe, but I think the Weather Channel is kind of exclusive. I don't know if. And because I watched News Nation, Newsmax, and I was really disappointed. Nobody was really covering except the Weather Channel, the storms. I couldn't get any other.
Well, that's what happened to me the other day when you busted my balls for doing the crappy weather thing. I went to which one? Which do you remember which one I used? I used either the National Weather Service or the Weather Channel.
You did use the National Weather Service, I believe. So
the one that I would think is going to give me, and it was like all this technical shit that I didn't need. Is it going to fucking rain or what?
Yep. You have to.
We're not on terrestrial radio anymore.
That's your show, not mine. Oh, we're way over. But that's the thing. They don't. They are so technical. It's like It's like digging through bureaucratic crap. Like FEMA has not put out a daily operations briefing today. I'm figuring it's because they're really busy. There is not a single damn press release on the USAR page, FEMA page, Homeland page about a major event. They just say we're under multiple disasters. Well, that's cool, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I know because some of my friends are on USAR teams and they got activated last night. Well, actually, yesterday afternoon, and they were being deployed nowhere.
The people that are updating those websites aren't digging somebody out from the bottom of an earthquake rubble.
Yep.
They're always going to be updating those websites. So why are we not doing it today on a day that it's needed?
I agree. Doge, get on that, damn it, because I think that is very important. That's vital information. That I would be behind.
Yeah.
Well, and then China is making headlines trying to say that the U.S. is failing, that, we're not over in Thailand where the earthquake occurred. First off, we weren't invited. We did send a notification. Second off, we're kind of busy right now. So you're closer. Tag, you're it.
There's another issue there too, though. They're in a civil war.
Yes.
And that's somewhere we need to be. And let's just say it, with this team that's supporting that team and is over here on this team, whether we got boots on the ground or not, there is a world war going on now. It may not be Axis versus Allies like it was in the 30s and 40s,
No, I
where it
agree.
may not be against an actual Kaiser like it was over 100 years ago. But I don't understand under modern definitions and the fact that nobody really declares war officially anymore. It's not a game anymore. It's just a thing that they're doing.
Mm.
I don't understand how you can't look at today's geopolitical atmosphere and say we're not at war.
Well,
We're
look,
not. We're not at world. We on the planet are not in a world war.
every day at the end of my show, I look at the Bitdefender site, and it's like the old what was it? The War Games? Was that the name of the movie? Shall we
Yeah.
play a game? And it's literally back and forth, back and forth. So
Yeah.
we're obviously taking shots at each other to knock each other's infrastructure down, or at least mess with it, I guess. So yeah, you don't do that to a country. And I mean, I don't think we would do that to Canada or Mexico if we weren't trying to mess with them. I mean, we might, but somebody might, but I don't think the official government would.
That's the thing. Somebody's got to get a hold of this guy and say, dude, what are you doing? You've made your point. We're in a penis measuring conversation or contest right now. But mom's coming. It's time to zip up before we get caught.
I'm not arguing that point. Yeah. I mean, there are some things, and I guess it's with any presidency. There's some things that some people are better at than others.
Yeah.
And all we can do is go push a button every 4 years. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it.
Well, time for you and me to push some other buttons.
I got to get out of here. My chat's already lit up.
And yep, Sport Cats Daily Gazette is up next. I'll see you back here in about an hour and 50 minutes for, what do I call it now? A Mastiff Media Magazine.
That's easy for you to say.
Australia and everywhere else. Thanks for joining. Thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs and going up the middle. I'll see you again. Sport Cat,
I'll be back in 1 minute, guys. Come over to Para Our Normal Guys, 3 words with a Z, and check out the chat, which is already lit up bitching about where is Glenn. So let me go.
Yep. All right. Get out of here.
All right. See you, brother.
Bye.
And,
there it is. Go to YouTube, Para or Normal Guys. See, he says it's like different. I think that's the actual call sign, though, or whatever they call it. Yeah, it's 10 after 1. I got to get some groceries. I got to come back and pay some bills, not do commercials, but like actually pay bills. So yeah, let's. I got to do some other things here before I get out of here. There we go. There it is. All right, time to go. I will see you here for this tomorrow. Be back in about an hour and 45 minutes for Mastiff Media Magazine. It'll be, I think I got for those of you that might have been following on social media, there was a sound issue. I think I've got that fixed. We're going to try it out. If not, I'll tell you to come over to the radio and we'll go from there. All right. See you soon.